When I was little, I used to spend hours playing dominoes with my grandma and grandpa. I would line them up around the living room, push one down, and see them all fall. Little did I know when I was younger that this could be a metaphor for something even bigger. And the situation that is a metaphor today is the rising dissatisfaction with austerity measures in the European Union. Because of this public dissatisfaction, we have been caused to ask the question, do the recent political changes in Europe indicate a popular dissatisfaction with austerity policies? To this, I can only answer a clear yes, and we will see this by examining the political shifts in France and the Netherlands, and finally, analyzing the specific effects of these austerity measures that caused these political shifts. By examining these three areas of analysis, we will indeed see that this public dissatisfaction with austerity measures is what is causing this dramatic shift in the first place. First, let us analyze the political shift in the government of France. According to the Wall Street Journal on April 27, 2012, Nicolas Sarkozy, the president of France, recently lost in the first round of presidential elections to his more liberal competitor, François Hollande, because of the fact that François Hollande is a more liberal candidate and therefore is eager to repeal the austerity measures that is further threatening the economy of France. According to the Washington Post on April 26, 2012, because François Hollande is the more liberal candidate, he is doing more successfully because these austerity measures are causing such dissatisfaction in the French voting public. Furthermore, according to the New York Times on April 29, 2012, the fact that Nicolas Sarkozy's own party is beginning to question him on some of his outrageous right-wing views, we can only conclude that Nicolas Sarkozy's reign is coming to an end because of these right-wing views and because of his competitor, François Hollande's more liberal views when it comes to the austerity measures that aren't working for France. Now that we have looked at how political shifts are caused by austerity measures in France, let us take a look at the Netherlands and how political shifts have been further caused by these austerity measures that aren't working there either. According to the Wall Street Journal on April 23, 2012, Prime Minister Mark Rutte resigned because of the fact that the Parliament of the Netherlands could not agree on a 2013 budget plan that could meet the goal of the European Union and include these austerity measures. The fact that Prime Minister Mark Rutte resigned, according to the Wall Street Journal on April 26, 2012, does not necessarily mean that he is down and out, but rather leads us to believe that he's calling for a new election to get new faces in Parliament and the Prime Ministership, and to try and make a change in the Netherlands that doesn't include these austerity measures. According to the New York Times on April 29, 2012, the fact that these austerity measures are further causing political shifts in the Netherlands, an economy that hasn't been as harmed by these austerity measures, leads us to believe that the Dutch people are taking clues from the nations around them in the European Union and calling for a government shift because these austerity measures are even being considered. Now that we have taken a look at the specific political changes in France and the Netherlands, let us take a look at how austerity measures have further impacted governments around the European Union. According to NPR on April 23, 2012, over the past year, 6 countries have had political shifts due to growing dissatisfaction with these austerity measures that are causing a stagnated economy and dissatisfaction among these voting populations. According to the Wall Street Journal on April 23, 2012, the fact that the public has growing dissatisfaction with these austerity measures leads to protests, such as the protests in Ireland and Greece over rising taxes and rising rates of unemployment and inflation. Under these such conditions, people in Ireland, Greece, and other countries around the European Union that use the euro are not able to function in a way that they once were. They are no longer guaranteed the services that they were because they were socialist countries before the European Union financial crisis. And according to the Wall Street Journal on April 26, 2012, the fact that they aren't guaranteed these things anymore leads them to become even more dissatisfied with the austerity measures that are continuing to cause them to have to suffer like this. According to the New York Times on April 29, 2012, the fact that they are growingly dissatisfied with these austerity measures leads us to believe that these austerity measures lead right to dissatisfaction with the public, which in turn impacts the government and the politics in the European Union, just like that domino effect I observed with my grandparents when I was younger. As we can clearly conclude by examining the specific political shifts in France and the Netherlands, and in furthermore analyzing the impact of the austerity measures in other political shifts around the European Union, we can clearly see that these austerity measures lead to public dissatisfaction, lead to political shifts that are further impacting the Eurozone. So just like I observed this domino effect with my grandparents on Saturday afternoons that I loved, the European Union seems to love this domino effect caused by austerity measures and is further clinging to them to have the same effects.